Hey there, it's Monkey. We're continuing our epic loop playthrough of Valheim, and we are up to Yagluth. So I'm going to give you the breakdown of like items and food and gear that I'm using for the fight. But first, how did we find Yagluth? Normally, you would use a Vegvisir. That's one of the stones that show you where a boss is. And I actually traveled pretty far and wide across the plains looking for a Vegvisir for Yagluth, and through my searches I didn't find one. I did, however, as I was finishing one leg of the plains down here, I did notice some plains across the way and decided that since I already had a bone mass portal over here from fighting that boss, and I already knew there was some plains over in this direction, I would just head down the coast and see what I could find. And I actually found the summoning stones for Yagluth instead of the Vegvisir. It's just as good, right? You can skip that part. Now, out in the plains, you'll see, and you probably saw in my other video, those giant stone pillars that are very straight. These ones are bent like fingers and like a thumb, right? So it looks just like a hand rising out of the ground, which is kind of what it is. It's a good indication that you found Yagluth's summoning altar. Now, it will take totems from fueling villages, and I found a ton as I was trying to look for this Vegvisir, but it takes 5 of these to summon them. In terms of items that you're going to want for potions, typically you're going to want a fire resist potion. The only exception I would say is if you manage to, or if you like playing with a Fenris set of armor, that gives you fire resist baked in. And I've gone through some crafting shenanigans where I have twice tried to make a legendary Fenris leggings through epic loot, and each time it's managed to roll into a legendary set of a different set instead of Fenris. So now I've got a Heimdall's pants, which I'm wearing instead, but I have another one, like a Ragnar's pants. I'll throw it up on the screen too. Both great pants, but because they have their own set bonus, it overrides the default Fenris set bonus. So no fire resist for me. I'll just use a potion, or I'll just go it without a potion. It doesn't matter. I think we'll win either way. You already know most of the rest of my gear. I have thorns on my chest piece. That's not a huge deal for this fight. Thorns doesn't matter much. The health regen and the elemental damage reduction will come in handy, but mainly I'm wearing this because it has a lot of armor. 24 armor is sufficient for this fight, when coupled with this extra armor helmet and an okay armor set of legs. Plus, I have tons of stamina and health on my character, so I feel like my survivability is pretty high. For weaponry, I'm just going to go with a shield. The shield has, feint, which is a chance to avoid all damage, 1 in 6 chance every time I get hit, and it's got fire damage reduction. And if you look at that between all of my, let's go and see my active effects, or active magic effects, I've got, 35% fire damage reduction from those 2 legendary items, and I'm going to slap on another basically 50% like fire resist, right, from having the potion. So I'm going to take hardly any fire damage, which is sweet. Otherwise, for weapons, I would normally be using my spear, but Yagluth is very resistant to piercing damage. He only takes 25% from piercing. He only takes like 50% from fire, and he's immune to poison and whatnot. So it's going to come down to either a blunt weapon or a slashing weapon. I have an ice axe. The slow doesn't matter, but the lifesteal is okay. But I also found in my Plains adventures, I found this legendary Frostner with all of the elements for damage. Again, he's immune to poison and resistant to fire, but there's a lot of frost and spirit and blunt on there, so I feel like that's a pretty good weapon to carry me through, and the stamina use is relatively low. For food, I'm just going to go with a fish wrap and in fact, I'm just going to eat them right now. A blood pudding for stamina and health, it's 75-25. A fish wrap is 70-23 for health and stamina, and then a wolf skewer. And I could go hunt a snake, you know, out of the serpent out of the ocean. I don't feel like doing that. I could put together a lox meat pie. It's an extra 5 or 10 hit points here and there, and when you see the amount of hit points and stamina I have, I've got 219 stamina, and my hit point regen is 35 a tick, and I have more than 230 hit points. I think we're pretty well set for this fight. Layout-wise, I always run 2 portals. This is my no-name portal back here. That's my typical scouting portal that you've seen from before. I have workbenches scattered around, again, to block spawns in case, in case the fight is a night fight, or in case he, like, tries to summon in anything. He really doesn't do that for this fight, but I just like it as a preventative. My Yagluth portal, it's a portal I named after the boss, is up here. So this one is unconnected, though, so I'm going to have to, like, do a quick little... I'm not even going to worry about it. Normally I would worry about it. If I die, I still got that one portal to come back here, but normally I'd have them both active. Right now I just have that other one. So I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, I just want to touch on real quick, too. A couple things. I also always mention having healing mead. I probably won't need it because of my crazy regen, but it's good to have just in case. And a stamina mead just to allow me to keep just pushing the damage out onto the boss. I think that's about it. The very last thing I guess I would point out is that once you kill Yagluth, the hordes attacking your base, the hordes of fuelings that attack your base, that will end, and instead you'll start opening yourself up to the events from the Mistlands instead. So keep that in mind. If you really liked getting a lot of black metal ore from fuelings attacking your base, well, killing Yagluth is going to put a stop to that. Just a quick overview of his attacks, too, before we get into it. He's going to do a couple different things. He's going to raise his right hand. That does an AoE. When his hand slams on the ground, it'll be an AoE centered on his right hand. So you'll see me try to reposition to his left side when he does that, because then the AoE doesn't really reach me. It's fire and lightning and more fire. His left hand, when he raises that one, when he brings it down, meteors will come down from the sky. You can actually, they'll hit on these rocks. You can use these rocks a bit for cover. You can dodge them a little bit. They do knock back and fire. If you have lots of fire resist, you can also somewhat ignore them. And if you're far away from him, he'll do a fire breath attack on you, and it'll sort of track after you in whatever direction you're going. Depending on how the fight goes, you may not even see that one. So I've got my Frostner equipped. I'm going to chug this fire resist barley mead, and away we go. You're going to want to track these dots like with all the bosses. Track him to where he's going to land. It looks like it's going to be over here. I'm going to get right into this location, and as soon as he shows up, I'm going to start swinging. Even before he shows up, just to start ticking that damage on. I guess I'll activate my bone mass power. There's the right hand. The AoE slam on the ground, I just kind of moved over to the other side so I'd avoid most of the slamming attack. Drink that potion. Here come the meteors from the sky. Well, some of them kind of catching them. They usually come from behind them. See how they're like hitting those rocks up there. And then he's just going to go back and forth with right hand, left hand. So I'll sit here for a second, let my stamina regen. See if I can catch a good shot of the meteors. Here we go. Here come the meteors. Left hand. So see, all those meteors are hitting all that giant finger that's behind him. So that pretty much shielded us from all of that. Things are going okay so far. I mean, like I said, my regen's pretty sick. Oh, here we go. Got one goblin friend. More meteors. Again, most of them are getting caught by that finger up there. Just going to get my stamina back. Oops. There's a... It's a funky spot there that I'm not hitting him at. I don't know why. I'm not, you know, I don't really feel threatened by this damage right now, so. There's a lot of that yellow damage you see built on him there is basically just like leftover spirit damage that's ticking down on him. Step out of that. Oh, he's gonna do the fire breath. Oh, I guess he's not gonna do the fire breath. Use my last stamina potion here to get a blast of stamina for the little end here. I don't really need it. You know, we could just kind of keep ticking through this, but. And that's it. Lots of bright colors. Lots of brightness everywhere. We're going to get a trophy out of him, again, to turn in back at the boss stones. We also get these, let's see, a torn spirit. So 3 of those. And that's going to be used for crafting. I think that's how we craft our little misty thing. And we got a couple epic loot drops. Padded cuirass, which is actually really nice. We lose thorns, and I'm a big fan of having thorns on some gear because it, you know, lets you ignore, particularly in the plains, because it lets you ignore the death skeetos. In the Mistlands, maybe it's not as big of a deal to ditch the thorns, but the 50 health and the 25 Eider are 2 huge bonuses that can't be overlooked. And it's the next tier up of armor. I mean, I was rolling on mountain tier for that fight right there in terms of my chest piece. And then a black metal act gear. Solid rolls. If I was doing an act gear playthrough, I would say that's a pretty solid weapon there with the 13% lightning roll. I mean, not great, but it'd be okay. But that's it. I mean, that's the Yagluth fight. You know, using the fingers, you kind of see they're kind of like broken a bit from getting hit by those meteors. But you use those, you can, you know, you kind of use those as covered based off of his angle. You just kind of rotate him a little bit. And like I said, they come down from behind him, but above from behind. So if you're kind of underneath the edge of that, like pretty much where I'm standing right here, most of those meteors will hit against that finger. You'll hardly get hit at all, you know, and you can just practically ignore them. For the other attack, that blowback attack, like I said, just be standing on the right. He holds his right hand up, rotate around to the left hand side, and you can take him out from there. So I don't know what we're gonna do now. I mean, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna head to the Mistlands, which, since this is the center, we know the Mistlands are gonna kind of be all around the outskirts of this realm. So we'll probably either head. I mean, we have a portal here. We have a portal on the other side over here as well, which I didn't actually mark. I'll have to step through and remark that. But we might take one of those portals and either walk south, although I know that there's water down here, or we'll throw a boat in the water, head on down south, and start looking for Mistlands and exploring that in the next episode, covering that sort of stuff. So, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it. Do me a favor and tap that like button down below, and if you haven't yet, touch the monkey over in the corner and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.